I just hope that she's, up in heaven and not in pain anymore. Because for someone to do something like that, they must have been in so much pain.
Why did you let him kill me? It was the clown.
You're listening to Animal Paranormal Live, where we talk about all things paranormal. And now, here's your host, the Animal.
Are you ready? Hey, what's up? It is Monday night, and very thankful. Welcome to Animal Paranormal Live. I am your host, of course, the only one, the Animal. Thank you so much for staying tuned and watching. I couldn't do it without you guys. And also, I wanted to talk about just a little bit before having my amazing guest come on, Kelly. I don't know if you watched it, but I know I did. The Super Bowl last night. Not really a Bucks fan, but I'm a Tom Brady fan all the way. New Englander. But I'm just happy the Bucks won. I always knew Tom Brady would win. So, yeah, just had to say that. But anyways, I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday, and hope your Super Bowl team won last night, and hope you were proud of them. But I just want to bring up my amazing guest, Kelly, and let's have a chat and get to know her. Hey, Kelly, how's it going?
It's going great. Hey guys, how are you?
Good, good. So, how have you been? I've been talking to you for a little bit and just watching your videos, and I'm pretty intrigued by your videos and what you do. Tell me a little bit of what you do.
Well, I started with the paranormal. I started having some entities, some ghost orbs at my house on my home cameras, and I didn't really know what they were other than what I'd seen on Ghost Adventures or, on Paranormal Caught on Camera. And so I put them on Facebook, originally asking, my Facebook friends what they were, and it kind of blew up. And then my older son said, "Mom, please stop putting that stuff on Facebook." So I ended up creating a YouTube channel to put my paranormal videos on. And then I caught a full body apparition in a parking lot. And that one was that Paranormal Caught on Camera paid for and bought the rights to. And then I just kind of expanded from paranormal to myths and legends and true crime and any really thing that's unexplained, aliens, all the cool stuff.
Now, where did the paranormal start for you growing up? When I know for me, like, it started when I was really young, as a kid. Just started seeing things and experiencing some crazy, just odd phenomena. Where did it start for you?
It started here at my house this last summer. So it's not even been a year.
Oh, wow.
And it may have been happening my whole life, but I just hadn't had home cameras to catch anything. So I had no proof before, but it was really cool to catch that. It sparked something in me the first time that I saw it, and it's not gone away. It's pretty cool.
Now, how did that feel for you? Like just experiencing something like that is so. That's not.
Exhilarating.
Yeah.
It wasn't scary. It was like a high, and every time I would see it, probably 2 times a week, and then I wouldn't see it for a couple of days. And every morning I would wake up and check my cameras. And the days that I didn't catch anything, I would kind of get sad and depressed and like, where's my ghost friend at? And then 2 or 3 days later, I would catch him again. And I started putting more cameras up in the house, some in the backyard, another one at an angle in the front yard. And of course, they were showing up on those as well. And so then I went hunting for them after that.
That's awesome. Now, have you experienced like stuff like I know with me because my home is haunted too as well, and I just actually had we woke up in the morning and me and my wife heard this big bang and we had like something literally ripped off the wall and thrown across the kitchen. Now, have you like had anything kind of like that in a experience kind of way, just to get your attention?
Nothing that dramatic. I've not had anything thrown across the room or anything, but I've had things misplaced. But it's one of those things. You're like, am I crazy? I could be imagining it. I feel like I've seen shadows in my house out of the corner of my eye. But it's one of those things that you're not 100% sure, but you're not crazy either.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like it's like a holy crap moment. Like I said, I know for me, like when stuff happens in my house where the door fully unlocks and opens all the way, or just stuff is thrown out of your refrigerator, it's like, what the hell just happened?
That sounds like you've got an angry ghost. Mine, the one here has not given me like a negative feeling. I've not felt, the energy shifting at all.
Yeah,
it's been pretty positive. So you have more of a poltergeist than I guess an everyday haunting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, pretty much. It's crazy, but have you? What are the most amazing places have you investigated? I know it's some which I'm a big fan of history. I know you went to the Civil War monument area, which I saw one of the videos, which I'm a big fan of. I'm a history buff. I'm all about learning about what's happened in the past, and it's really cool. So why don't you tell the viewers? And before you answer that, like if you got any questions for Kelly, please ask, because she's an amazing person and amazing investigator. So please, ask away.
I appreciate that. Well, it's funny you say that because I'm a high school history teacher. I've been a history teacher for, I guess, 16 years now. So my start was in history. I'm a huge history buff, as you are. Watch all the history movies, read all the history books. So whenever I go into an investigation, the first thing I want to do is research the history of that land, that house, that location, because it kind of gives you a frame of reference to start with. What kind of questions are you going to ask the ghost? You really need to have a foundation. Now, it's important that you don't stick to it, because sometimes you have this preconceived notion of what they're supposed to say or what you're expecting it to say. And if you're not open to maybe your research leading you into a different direction, you might not get the answer you're expecting. So let's say you go into an investigation and you're investigating a Civil War area and you're expecting slaves to answer you, and then you get a nurse. So you have to be open-minded that something else may come through except what you anticipated because of your research. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like I said, it just intrigues me to go to a place, and you feel the energy there too of those people going through what they went, and it just so intrigued me. Like you said, it's amazing experience to just go through that.
Yeah, I love it. I try to go. I have taken like a month off. I did my last investigation right after Christmas. And then school started back, and I'm starting to write a true crime book. So it kind
Oh
of
wow.
took me away from that for a little bit, but I'm picking it back up, and I just signed with Paraflix. So I'm anticipating another one this weekend or maybe the weekend after. But yeah, paranormal is my true love for sure. And when I don't investigate something for a little bit, I start to, get the hives back. You need to get back in there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Now, have you ever had an experience at a paranormal investigation, like being touched or something being whispered in your ear, or like an amazing EVP that you've gotten or caught on tape?
Every location that I've been to, I have caught amazing EVPs. The one in the Civil War cemetery, I caught a shadow figure, and they moved my mail meter. It was sitting next to me. We were doing a Ouija board session in a Civil War cemetery on Halloween night.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was pretty intense, and you could see the mail meter slide on the ground right next to me. And I thought it was a frog jumping, but the camera was stationed over here. No one was manning it. I just had it on the tripod, and I didn't see what was happening until I went home and looked at the footage later. But that one was pretty crazy. The one at the hanging judge, where they used to hang like 79 prisoners here in Fort Smith, that one had a lot. They were calling my name. They knew my name. So those are pretty intense. Yeah, when they know you personally.
I've had one like that where they call your name, and it's like, how do they know? It's so weird. You go to this new location out of nowhere, and it freaks you out a little bit because you're like, what the heck?
Yeah. They said my name, and it was kind of about 2 or 3 feet behind me, and I heard it on the spirit box, and I turned around and I said, did you just say my name? And it was as plain as day. It said, Kelly, come back. Because I was leaving the location. I was done, and it didn't want me to leave.
They weren't done with you yet.
Mm-hmm.
that's a crazy moment right there. I'd be like, well, maybe. I have let's see. Someone was asking, what is Kelly's #1 time bucket list location to investigate?
Love that question. I actually want to go to Germany and investigate Auschwitz, the concentration camp. I don't know if that's even legal, if they even let people do that, but to go and see, just to experience the pain there. I know that there's a lot that we could get, and I would just want to connect with a lot of those spirits. I think that would be pretty intense.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think my also #1, it would be Dracula's castle. I've always wanted to go there. I know it's far, and I know I've heard a lot of crazy things there, a lot of experiences that people have had, but I really don't care. I want to go there. It looks really cool.
That would probably take a month to get over, to recuperate from.
Yeah, it definitely take a lot, especially you get jet lag, because I used to live in Australia for a year, and the time change is so different, and it will wreck you for sure. Now you said you were a school teacher.
I am.
How long have you been teaching? If some of the viewers haven't, if they're just tuning in right now, tell a little bit about your school teaching and how you got into history and into your career.
I've been teaching about 16 years. I teach world history, American history, economics, and civics, depending on the semester and the age group at that time. But I love it, and I wouldn't do anything else.
That's awesome.
So I either investigate on the weekends, or if we have a holiday off, I'll do one then. And of course, summers are really good to travel and investigate at that point.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, like with COVID, I know with COVID going on, I know here in Florida it's a lot different than every other state going on. But how is it where you're at with be able to do in school and paranormal investigating, or just pretty much anything?
Well, I haven't run into too much trouble finding locations because I've had several outdoors. There is one location I actually just called again today that I've been trying to get in since October, September of last year. And they said, no, we're closed for COVID. Call back at the beginning of the year. So I keep calling and I keep calling. I want in there so bad. And they said, no, we're still not open yet. And I just can't wait for that one. But it seems like every other place I haven't had any trouble. I can get in pretty easy. It's the ones that they won't let you in. That's the ones you want so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. Now, there's one thing that I like to talk about with other people is paranormal toys, I call it pretty much, the electronics.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the question is, do you like to use a lot of equipment or less equipment or no equipment at all? Because I know what some people just like to just use a recorder, just for EVPs, because I've talked with a lot of people where there's having too much electronics around is just too much a distraction, because you never know, you can miss something totally amazing, or like you said, an apparition that you caught not too long ago. Say if you were using 100 different gadgets, I'm just throwing a number, and you could have missed that, so I want to get your take on that.
I think it depends on the location, and I think it definitely depends on how many people are in your team. The location I had in the cemetery, all I had was a camera and the Ouija board. And I had planned on using the millimeter. It was sitting next to me, but I got so into the Ouija board that I forgot to use it. And it sat there, and that's the thing that was moved on camera. And the camera itself caught 3 apparitions and the movement of a device. So that was enough for that one. The one that I went to inside of a house, I used the spirit box and the EMF reader because it was a bigger location. I had more people helping me, more people to man cameras. So it seemed that was more appropriate for that time. But I don't have a huge team. So it seems like whenever I bring in a lot of equipment, I end up forgetting to use it all because I get so involved, intense into the investigation. I'm like, crap, I forgot to bring this out, or man, I forgot to bring this out. But you're so into it at the moment that sometimes the equipment just gets pushed to the side and you're just into it. But I always use a spirit box. That's one of my go-tos. I always use an EMF reader. That's one of my go-tos in the camera. So if I would have to choose the top 3, it would be a video camera, the EMF reader, and the spirit box.
What's your thoughts about spirit box? Have you caught a lot of voice phenomena through a voice box?
Amazing. I won't go without it anymore because the spirit box is, the questions that I've asked has been so on target. The answers that I get are very specific to the questions. Now, the Necrophonic app that people use on their phones.
Yeah, I've used that.
I have used it, and there are times when it is accurate, and sometimes it kind of repeats the same thing. So that one's kind of a hit or miss for me. I think it's good for YouTubers when they need like really cool content that looks good for the viewers.
Yeah.
But it may not necessarily be 100% accurate all the time. But my spirit box is pretty on point.
What kind of spirit box do you use?
It's the SV7.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. That's awesome. Now, have you ever used dowsing rods or anything on an investigation?
I have used them. I'm not confident with them yet, and I feel like they're easily manipulated. So I don't trust in them as much because one little turn of your body can make them move. So, and there was a video right after mine on Paranormal Caught on Camera of another guy using dowsing rods. And in the Facebook group for Paranormal Caught on Camera, everybody was talking bad about his video and him and the dowsing rods and how fake it looked. And I was like, man, I'm glad that wasn't me. But yeah, the overall sentence of dowsing rods is they're not as accurate as I guess they were in the past. I'm not sure, but I know Brian Cano, the one of the moderators for Paranormal Caught on Camera. He doesn't like them.
Yeah, yeah. It's a hit and miss with me. I like to personally. I just like to go with myself with a recorder and just a camera. Unless if I'm like doing with filming or something like that, then you have all the electronics and stuff. I'm kind of sketchy on with like EMF detectors because if you have your phone, it could set it off or any other electronics. When you have a whole bunch of things, like I saw this one guy, he looked like the Ghostbusters. He had like full pack of all these electronics and stuff, and like it's one thing after another when you have so much frequency. It's just gonna aggravate all the other tools that you're trying to use to trying to get a good experience of the paranormal.
Yes, and I don't carry all of that, so my EMF reader doesn't go off on that. I will say I did an investigation outside on an Indian burial ground where there was no electrical wiring at all. It was just outside, and it was going off on the ground. So that was pretty vivid and accurate for me.
That's really cool. Now, here's one thing, a debate that I've wanted to, that I like to talk about with people. Now, the paranormal, right? We all want to know, or what are they? Are they from figures from the past, the future, or is it time travel? I want to get your aspect on it because I like to get on everybody's feel of what they think of what the actual paranormal is.
I think it could be all of it. I think it depends on the situation, but I'm not ruling any of that out. I think that the paranormal is so broad and so unknown.
Yeah.
Like my channel says, unexplained, that I don't think we have all the answers yet. So I think it's all of it.
Yeah, I've seen some situations where there's with the whole thing in time travel, it's just somebody giving a message to somebody, or it's someone who passed away. It's a, like you said, unexplained, and I don't know if we'll ever find out. But the cool thing about it is we get to search for it, and that's the whole excitement about this whole paranormal experience. Is we get to feel, see, hear, and just get that wow factor of amazing evidence of an apparition that you caught. Stuff like that just intrigues me, and I'll never forget seeing a video like the same area, Civil War area. You actually see an actual soldier go past the old fence, just going past. You can see the hat and everything. So it's just really intriguing to be able to see something that we're not supposed to see, that you see in the movies.
I think it's very powerful, and I don't take it lightly or take it for granted. I feel that it's, for me to have seen something like that, I feel privileged. Because I was 40 before I saw it for the first time, and now I see it all the time. So I'm just thankful that I was able to in my lifetime. Yeah,
that's awesome. Now I'm going to kind of turn the tables a little bit about history.
Okay.
What is your...
How well I know history, huh?
Well, I love history, so I'm happy you're a history teacher, so I have to ask. What is your favorite history story? Historic story that has happened here or anywhere around the world?
That's a broad. Like, are you going to give me a time era? Because there's a lot of stories.
No, we got 30 minutes left, so we're good.
I don't know. My favorite historical story, I guess it would have to be the Revolutionary War. I think it was just because we were such underdogs and we were not expected to win, and it created our nation. I really am intrigued by the American Revolution and learning about all the intricacies of that. And I still learned so much about it. I was watching Hamilton with my daughter. Have you seen that Broadway show?
I love that show. I've watched it with my kids a bunch of times.
It made me fall in love with the American Revolution again. And
Yeah.
I learned so much about some of the characters that we don't necessarily hear about in our textbooks and the stories about it. I thought it was well done, and it makes my daughter, she's 14, she's like, how come they don't teach history like this all the time? And it made her fall in love with it. So I think I'll have to go with the American Revolution right now.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was just in Virginia at an event. It was just past December, and it was really cool because, like you said, Hamilton. Like we've went to like all the areas where they talked about in the show. Yeah, you know, it's just really cool, and all the streets were named after Thomas Jefferson Street. You know, where the Battle of Yorktown. And it was just really cool to be able to step in those with the old brick road that are still there, the old houses. And it's like a lot of people don't get it. Like with history, it's something when you're in it, when you get to experience it. I know some people might think it's boring or something to listen to it, but when you get to experience it for yourself and get to go there personally and have that, again, wow factor, and just feel it in your bones of what happened and how Thomas Jefferson walked through the streets and what happened to Hamilton, you know, through all his struggles and, you know, seeing his son die, and be able to be there. It just gives me goosebumps just thinking about it because it's like you're reliving it. You're reliving history.
Well, and history can be boring if it's taught that way.
Yeah.
But it can be exciting if it's taught with these people had personalities and here's their stories, and they were real people just like you, and they had real problems just like you, and they had the same issues back then with prejudice and adultery and, you know, all of the things that we still deal with today. And I think Hamilton made that relevant with the music, and it made it show that those people and dates and names that we just memorize and just write down with no context behind it, it really did it a service. And I think that's why it's important to explain history through paranormal, because when we see a ghost, that was a person that had a life, that had a story. And when you know the context behind that area, it makes it more relevant when you see a ghost that this was a person and they had a really cool life, they had a really cool story, and let's tell it as best as we can.
Especially when you get to experience like slavery, you experience that pain they've been through. You can feel it. Like it's hard to explain. If the viewers out there, if you have never experienced something like that, just go to a place that, you know, where history happened and just open yourself up. Just, you know, just open yourself up and just close your eyes and just feel the presence there, because it will pretty much knock you out of your shoes, because it's just a crazy experience of just people being hurt and just slavery and people being killed, and like you said, adultery, and just all, you know, it could go on and on and on.
Well, in Arkansas, what we're experiencing a lot is Native American spirits, and that is powerful in itself because their religious and their culture was very based on paranormal. And when you have a lot of Indian burial grounds and the Trail of Tears ran through here, you can feel that energy and their spirit quite a bit here. And I don't know if you get that. Where are you at, in Florida?
Yeah, Florida.
I don't know if they have a lot of that there in Florida, but I know you have the Seminoles there, right?
Yeah, we have the Seminole Indians.
We have a lot of Cherokee, a lot of Choctaw here, and the Trail of Tears ran through here. So that is very powerful in itself, that you're building all these houses on Indian lands, and then you wonder why you have paranormal activity in your houses.
Yeah, especially on Indian burial mounds. I think that's the most the most craziest thing to do, especially on top of that, because you never know what's going to happen if you're on an Indian burial mound.
It's on my channel.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, but like I said, the passion, it gets me excited for the paranormal out there and to be able to do that, especially with history. Now, like, have you ever experienced, talk about history, like having out of body experience, like of what has happened, like
No,
when you,
I have not. Now, I have had where I felt negative presence after an investigation that I didn't feel like myself for a long time. I felt very depressed and sick and just not happy for weeks on end. And that was after my last one. And I think it was because we came across an animal sacrifice in this church,
oh,
and there was a circle and it had been burned and the bones were still there. And I didn't do a proper cleansing before or after a spiritual cleansing. And I could tell that that stuck with me for a long time. Whatever energy was there, it was very dark and it was very dirty. And it took me a couple of weeks to get over.
yeah. Now I know you. Did you hear that?
Is that your dog?
No, I heard like something went like that.
Mm-mm.
That was weird. Like someone was screaming. But you never know. Sometimes I hear stuff like that because of the mic picks it up. And anyways,
I'll have to go back and watch it and see if it's on there.
yeah, someone just said they heard it too.
Oh, that's scary. As soon as I was talking about that dark entity.
That's crazy. We'll talk about dark entities. I want to kind of get into Ouija boards
Uh-huh.
a little bit. I know you talked about that briefly in the beginning of our session, where you did it on Halloween, which is like a crazy time to do it. Halloween. I'm kind of interested, like how did that go? What's your thoughts with Ouija boards? Number one.
I think Ouija boards are just another way of communicating with the dead. And I think that if we have a problem with Ouija boards and we don't have a problem with spirit box, or we don't have a problem with tarot cards, or we don't have a problem with pendulums, those are all different ways to connect with the dead. And I think the goal is the same. We're trying to speak with the dead. I still think that all of them can be dangerous, but you have to be able to cleanse before, protect before, and cleanse after. So as long as you're protecting yourself and doing, your rituals, your prayers, holding your holy water, there's several different things that you can do. But I think it needs to be done with all of them. So if you're using the spirit box, communicating with the dead, or the pendulum, or the tarot cards, or the Ouija board, the goal is the same. You're just using different tools. So I think you have to be careful to protect before using all of them, and then to cleanse when you're done using all of them and close the sessions out correctly.
Yeah.
And I think if you do it that way, you're okay.
Agree. Yeah, I think I've used a Ouija board a couple of times. I used one in my house because we wanted to figure out what was going on, and we got pretty good responses. And one was a long, long time ago where we had some bad experiences where doors started shutting and opening, and I wasn't really too much knowing what cleansing was that was when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now you got to make sure you protect yourself because you never know what you're gonna get into, especially any communication, not even just a Ouija board, but especially for example, I was in an investigation not too long ago, this past December, and there was like entities. I ain't gonna say it was, what do they call demons or anything like that, because not everything's a demon.
Mm-hmm.
But it was negative.
Right.
Let's say negative, and it was so bad that it interfered with me, and it kind of like knocked me off my feet for a while, for at least a week. It kind of just I didn't feel right. Like you said, you had that experience, so it took a while for that energy to build back up, my own energy.
Yes.
So it's crazy how something like that could drain you and still have the after effects after that.
Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't get out of bed for like 2 days. We had done the investigation on a Friday, and I think I stayed in bed for 2 days straight. Just I was so drained, and even when I went back to work and I started and everything was fine, I just could not be myself for 2 weeks, and it made me realize how dangerous this is. Um, you've really got to protect yourself and take it seriously.
Yeah, I've actually seen it really damage a lot of people. That's why, like you said, you gotta come in there with the right mind and protect your heart. And this stuff, if even if you're skeptical about it, I don't care who you are. You can be skeptical or you don't believe in ghosts. They can still attack a skeptical person and still do things to you, and you don't realize it afterwards. And it could change your moods, and you don't realize it, and you're treating people badly and stuff. And it's like, dude, did you go through the precautions, even though if you don't believe it,
Yeah.
still go through the precautions. I tell everybody, just go through, protect yourself. Even if you don't believe, just do it. Because trust me, you will thank me later. You'll thank us later because, what were you going to say?
Oh, you cut out. I didn't hear you. I just said absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah. I have, Christina, is there any type of communication that you prefer or find that you receive more activity, communication or connection with?
Like which one of my communication tools?
Uh, I'm thinking so, yeah. I think it's probably one of the tools you use.
The spirit box, I find I love the spirit box. But I have found that the camera will pick up silent EVPs that are silent to me, but the microphone will pick it up and I will hear it later, kind of like you and your microphone.
Yeah.
I won't hear it until I review it. And it literally just happened right next to my face. It'll say hi or hello on the camera's mic, but not the spirit box.
Yeah.
So I like to use those side by side.
That's awesome. Now, one thing, you're in Arkansas, right?
I am.
Now, I'm kind of talking about paranormal and other things. Because we just don't talk about ghosts. We talk about all things paranormal. So, since you're in Arkansas, because I've seen a lot of people that have experiences with UFOs in that area.
In Arkansas, really?
Yeah.
I have never seen one.
So I wasn't sure if you were like, if you've ever experienced them or have heard people have experienced them, or what's your take on them?
Oh, I believe in them 100%. In fact, I have a video that says Alien versus Ghost. It's on my YouTube channel because there was a light anomaly that was moving sporadically. It was really weird. And it wasn't a bug that was stuck in a spider web, and it shot off. But it was about the time that I was getting all of these ghosts on camera at my house. And so I said, is this an alien or is this a ghost? And of course there were people commenting on that. But it was the weirdest movement I'd ever seen.
Wow. Kind of like orbs in a way.
It was, but true orbs move very slow and methodical, and they have like a specific pattern. Like it's someone walking, they know where they're going. It's not this random movement. That's really quick. That movement was like that. So
wow. Talking about orbs. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Talk about orbs. What's your experience with orbs? What do you think of them?
Well, that was actually my first experience with the paranormal, was an orb. And on my YouTube channel, I show the difference between an orb and a bug, and how a lot of people get those confused or mistake one for the other. But I show, because of course I had some people say, oh, that's a bug. And I said, no, this is what a bug looks like on my camera. And I would show what an orb and a bug looks like at the same time. I did a side by side so that they could see what a bug looked like in my camera versus that one. I do think that it's mistaken, but I do think orbs are real.
I do too. But the only thing about orbs is like you have to really be careful with it because, like, especially old places, like, there's a lot of dust around. And that's one thing. A lot of mistakes happen when it looks like it looks like it, but it's hard to tell when you're between an old place and you're doing a residential place that people are still living in, if they dust their house or not. But I think orbs are pretty interesting, and I think they're cool. I've seen some video of orbs that were like different kind of colors that found in the forest and stuff like that. I don't know, they're very intriguing. I think they're pretty cool and very cool phenomenon. I don't know what to think of them, but they're cool.
Well, I believe it. I do think those spirits that don't have a lot of energy, that they're using anything that they can to manifest. And I think obviously the spirits that have more energy will go into full body apparitions. But I do think there are some spirits that just can't manifest that much. And so if you look on my YouTube channel, you can see the very first videos that I uploaded. There's about 12 of them, and they're very big. They're huge orbs just dancing.
Wow.
It wasn't dust. It's and like I said, I compare it side by side with a bug, so you can see the difference. Yeah, and that's how my camera.
That's crazy.
The camera sets off my motion, and my camera started recording because of these orbs. That's what freaked me out. In a good way. I wasn't scared.
Yeah, I haven't. Knowing as my house is haunted, I haven't had any of my, because I got a Ring camera too. I've had like bugs and stuff like that off my camera. And after I say that, and something's gonna happen later on because I never know in my house. But Robert had a question. Have you ever had experience with something other than paranormal?
Like what?
Other than the paranormal, like cryptids, anything like Bigfoot or Mothman, or
no, I wish. I want to see a mermaid. That's what I want to see. A mermaid and an alien.
Mermaid and alien. I've already seen, which I never thought I would ever see in my life, which is a Bigfoot.
Really?
I've actually had my first Bigfoot encounter, and it was the most amazing thing in the world because I was starting to doubt them, kind of, because, like, where are these Bigfoots, number one? And people seeing them, but, like, you don't see no skeletons or anything like that, or, only you see the footprint. That's all you see.
Right.
And you see all these casts and stuff, and I'm, like, thinking, are people just making this stuff up and saying they're seeing this? But it's...
Where were you at?
It was up in the Indiana area.
Okay.
I can't really disclose where because they're very sacred, the area where it was at. But it was like that wow factor. Like, holy crap! I saw like this 8 to 9 foot figure, broad shoulders, just going back and forth, and then all of a sudden, it was gone. It was one of those moments where I was like, holy crap, I've actually seen a Bigfoot, and I should have brought extra underwear, because I was like, God damn, because I'm a hunter, so, and I was like, I hope this thing don't charge at me, because I wouldn't know what to do, or I'd get too excited.
Yeah, I've never experienced that. That would be cool, for sure.
Yeah, that's the one thing I think it was on top of it. Next is Mothman. Hopefully I could experience that.
Oh, Mothman, yes.
Yeah. What is your favorite I know you said mermaids and aliens. What is your other favorite cryptids?
Probably the Wendigo.
Yep, I've heard of the Wendigo.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go with
That's awesome. Well, I know we're having some technical difficulties on the internet, and thank you for everybody being so patient. But I'm probably going to cut it here a little bit because it's cutting a little bit. For some reason, my internet's acting up so weird. But before we go, I want to ask, like I ask everybody, what would you give someone who's just starting out in the paranormal field what would you give them, to start out with? How would you?
You cut out. What advice would I give them?
Yeah, what kind of advice would you give them?
Well, the advice that I was given, because I've only been doing this not even a year, the advice that I was given, I would say, would be three different things. One, protect yourself before and cleanse after would be number one. Two, research the area. Get a background so that you kind of know what kind of questions to ask. You don't want to go in there asking about Indian heritage if it's a Civil War, site. So you kind of need a small foundation of where you're headed. And three, just go with your gut, your instinct, have fun, and go in there confident, not scared, so that they're not attaching or attacking you. Because if you are scared, they're going to know it. And I guess I kind of compare this to like riding a horse. When they feel your energy, they know if you're afraid, they will use it and buck you off. But if they know that you're dominant and you're the alpha, they won't. So you've got to go in confident.
That's awesome.
Those would be my top three.
That's awesome. Definitely. 100%. Now, is there anything you'd like to promote, or your plugins, your YouTube channels, and your Facebook page?
Sure.
Some people know where to go.
Kelly's Unexplained on YouTube. It's also Kelly's Unexplained on Instagram, and Kelly Nichols 7 on Twitter.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, someone's asking me, hey, Robert, sorry, were you camping or going fishing? Oh, no, it's with the group when I saw Bigfoot. It was kind of, we were just hanging out and having a campfire and having a bowl of chili, and because it was freaking cold out, number one. And number two, there was Bigfoot, so that was cool. So, but anyways, thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you. We definitely gotta hook up together sometime, paranormal investigation, and I want to pick up your mind since you're a history buff and ask you more question about history, because I love history and I could talk all day for it. But definitely, guys, check out Kelly Nichols, amazing person. Amazing history buff. She knows a lot about history. Amazing history teacher. And check her out. And thank you for tuning in on Animal Paranormal Live. Please check out my documentary trailer, Through Hell and Back, which I can't wait to be able to share with you guys, hopefully, by the end of this year. But anyways, guys, love y'all. You have a good day and safe week.
Bye.